Welcome everybody. We're just going to give it a couple of seconds before we make a formal start, just so that we can allow as many of our registered participants as possible join. Great. I can see the number is slowing down a little bit, so we will make a start and hopefully we will have some more people join as we move through. So welcome everybody to day 3 of our virtual experience week. My name is Hannah Griffiths. I'm one of the recruitment and admissions managers for the Oxford MBA. You're all very welcome to Wednesday's sessions, and I'm sure you've heard this many times already, but huge congratulations to all of you on receiving an offer of a place to join us at Science Business School next September. So the focus of this morning's session is on the MBA programme, and I'm delighted to be joined by my colleague Rachel Keaney, who's going to be talking you through this morning some of the academic elements of the Oxford MBA programme, and also sharing some information as well about some of the co-curricular activities that you'll have the opportunity to join if you are to join us here at SBS. We very much welcome questions from you throughout the session, so if you do think of anything that you would like to ask, as Rachel is moving through her slide deck, please send those through to us via the Q&A button that you can see on your screen. Rachel will do her best to answer as many of the questions as she can before the end of the session today. And yeah, we welcome your engagement, so do let us know if you have any questions at all that pop to mind as we are working through. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Rachel to make a start.
Thank you, Hannah. So hi, well done everyone for getting offers firstly, as Hannah just said. I'm Rachel, I'm the head of MBA academic delivery on the MBA programme, obviously. I lead the team that run everything that's worth credit on the programme. I'm also going to talk to you about the things that make the Oxford MBA special and why we think now you've got your offer, you should be choosing to come and join us in September. So this is just an overview of the programme, what it looks like really. So at Oxford, we teach in 3 terms. They're called Michaelmas, Hilary and Trinity. We also on the MBA, because we're a 1-year programme, add in a 4th term, which is long vacation, which is also referred to as the summer term. But you can see here the way that we split the programme up. In Michaelmas term, when you first start, after you've had the excitement of launch, your induction for a couple of weeks, and your pre-arrival engagement that I'm going to touch on again later, you hit the ground running and your core courses start being taught in October. The core courses we have 8 of, we're going to touch on them again later, and you also have your integrative module, which is called Global Rules of the Game, which is made to touch parts of all of the core courses and really integrate within the main MBA programme. In Hilary term, you get to have a little bit more flexibility in terms of the course and designing it to work for yourself. So you've got core courses continued, they're new ones that are introduced. You also get to pick one elective, which is a core plus. So these are purposely designed electives that aren't as wide-ranging as the ones that you get later in the year, but ones that are made to build on specific core concepts, such as business finance or marketing or strategy, but get to give you a chance to start thinking about what you might want to be doing after your MBA programme, start thinking what will really help you career-wise. As well as the core courses and your elective, you also start the applied learning or projects part of the programme. This has Go-To, which is Global Opportunity and Threats Oxford, and EP, which is the Entrepreneurship Project. So you run Go-To runs in the first half of Hilary term, and this is a really good opportunity to take a huge worldwide problem and put your skills as Oxford MBA students to solving it, to really helping out companies that have come with these big problems. And it's quite a unique course that's special to Oxford, so we're really proud of that. That's been developed over a number of years now. The Entrepreneurship Project starts in the second half of Hilary term, and that gives you a chance to start a business from scratch. Now, this is done in teams with fellow students, teams of about 5 or 6 people, and you can either come present your own idea if you've got something that you think will be really exciting, or if you don't have an idea, You can come to pitch sessions that are held where other students will be giving their ideas. And if you think that sounds amazing, I'd like to join that, you can join up with them as a team, and you work on that over Hilary term and for the start of Trinity term. And a number of people then also take this forward and have then made their own startups after the MBA program and are now running these companies, which is really exciting for us to be able to see as the kind of admin team that have watched it from the beginning, when we start seeing all of this information and stuff on LinkedIn, and then even further in the distance, it's a really nice opportunity for people that think entrepreneurship might be where they'd like to go, but maybe aren't as confident to just go out and set it up on their own. So as we move into Trinity, as I said, EP continues, but you also get the widest range of freedom in terms of all of the courses are electives rather than any more core courses. So you're really now starting to pick the shape that you want your MBA to be. So the Oxford MBA, unlike some other MBAs, is not specialised. It's not a finance MBA. It's not a strategy MBA. It's the MBA that you want to make it. So we really like the fact that we get this hugely diverse amount of people, different experiences, different nationalities, different genders, and you can make the MBA what you need or want to make it. So in Trinity term, you get the chance to pick 5 electives, which could be an array of subjects. It could be that you want to focus on finance and therefore you're just picking the finance electives, but it just really gives you a bit more flexibility to start thinking about what will help you the most in your future. This then continues on to summer, where you can either stay in Oxford and continue to take electives, so you could take 2 more electives, or, which is one of a very popular, we have about a third of the class that like to take an internship for credit. So this is a student-sourced internship. You can work with our careers team who are able to advertise some internships, but also people go out to kind of their destination employers and secure work with them as internships, and then are able to go and secure full-time jobs with them afterwards. So you would do a 6-week or longer internship with them, and it's then a reflective piece that you do as part of your assignment to show the learnings of the MBA and how that's reflected within the internship. Your other option over the summer is to take part in a strategic consulting project, or SEP as it's known. This is a project that's put together by a specific company. So we source companies within our team and we advertise the problem that they are facing and that they want the Oxford MBAs to come and address them. We get some really exciting projects. There's been a London Stock Exchange. We've had, I've now gone blank, but some really exciting projects each year. And this is a team of 2 to 5 students that go and work for a 6-week basis, based in the company, working with the company, and their assessment is then reflecting again on what the work that they've done, how they've helped to solve the issue or address the issue for the specific company. After that, because everyone's gone their separate ways, we organise a capstone, which is the end of your programme. We gather you all back together in Oxford, and it's a celebratory week. So we have college dinners and we have drinks receptions and we run a debate at the Oxford Union, which I'll mention later as well. All as a chance for you to come back together, celebrate as the class on a year that flies by, and just take stock of what you've achieved, because it is an amazing achievement. An MBA is generally 2 years. We do it quickly. It's intense, but what you get out of it then, and the friendships that are made, the networks that are created, are also intense. So we bring you back, we celebrate that, and we put on an end of course ceremony, normally at the Sheldonian Theatre, as a chance for you again to celebrate together. Your formal graduation, because of the way that Oxford University works, is via your college. So you won't formally graduate as an MBA cohort. So we do this end of course ceremony that allows us to celebrate all of you. It lets you all shake hands with the dean, have your photos taken. It also allows us to give out some academic prizes for various achievements throughout the year, and just to really celebrate you with your friends and your family in Oxford, where you can show them where you've been experiencing the last year of your life. So that's a really nice ending to the year. So that gives you an overview of the programme. And as you can see across the bottom, throughout all of this, which is the bit that my team and I work with, you've got everything that's co-curricular going on at the same time with the Careers Development Centre, Talent Development, Finance Lab, Asset Management Masterclass. We're going to start running a hedge fund masterclass, Impact Lab, all these other opportunities that we'll touch on when we get to more of the co-curricular stuff that make being in Oxford so unique, so special, and give you that opportunity to just add more and more to your MBA program should you wish to do so. And just a little note we've added there. So we are constantly trying to improve and innovate the MBA program. Although we feel that these are the core concepts that are taught and this is the way that we've purposely designed the program, it might vary year on year. So in the next slide I'm about to show you that has the year overview, please don't hold me to the week by week process should you accept our offer and come and join us in September. So here we have an idea of a year for the MBA program. You can see that there is not a lot of spare time. It is full on. You do have a few weeks off over the winter. You do have a few weeks off for Easter, unless you're taking part in an international elective. But this is an overview of last year, I believe. So the weeks are slightly different, obviously, but it gives you an idea of the core courses running in Michaelmas term, Hilary term opening up a bit more with that green and the yellow where more choices are coming in, Trinity and summer having even more choices. One thing that we've purposely designed, which also reflects again on the kind of rigidity of Michaelmas term slightly opening up, is the way that you're taught in your groups. So we do put you into sections, into groups, study groups to help you. We determine the sections and the study groups for Michaelmas term. So you'll be allocated a group of 5 or 6 students. We make them as diverse as we can in terms of nationality, previous job sector, gender, age, everything, just so that you can really learn together. We find that the relationships that are built in the study teams are really strong throughout the year because you've helped each other in the initial stage where it's all a bit new and you've gone back to school. So that's very structured for Michaelmas term. In Hilary term, you get a bit more decision. So you start to pick the section or the stream that you would like to be in, which relates to your go-to project. This is then controlled slightly more by us by putting you into the groups, but you're then in a group with other people that you've selected to be in that kind of sector with. And then in Trinity term, you are a lot freer. You obviously aren't in sections because you're all in different electives. You're not in set study groups, but you're in your EP teams. So that means you are in completely self-chosen groups. You pick your EP team, you pick who you want to be working with. And it just means that you've got that much more freedom. You're making all of this kind of stuff to suit yourself. And that carries on through Trinity term. And then summer, there are no specific sections or study groups or anything like that. Although a lot of people do still talk to their original study groups. And you can just see the bottom graphic there gives you an idea of the numbers on the programme. So you've got 9 core courses, which are organisational behaviour, tech and ops, accounting, analytics, business finance, marketing, firms and markets, strategy, and capitalism and debate. Then you've got your integrative module that I mentioned earlier is global rules of the game. You've got EP, you've got go-to, 2 projects, and then you take 6 elective credits. And they are based either on full electives, or you'll be doing 6 electives and 2 extras in the summer, or you'll be taking an internship or an SEP, as I mentioned. So that's an idea of what the year would look like. So what does the class look like, more importantly? We are really proud of the diversity that we managed to get at Said, which is a huge thanks to Hannah and the rest of her team in the recruitment and admissions team that go out and source you amazing individuals. So our current cohort that started in September this year is a class of 313. And you can see there we've got 64 nationalities represented, which is incredible. 93% of them are international students. And what we're most proud of is the fact that we're at 48% female in this class, and that has risen steadily for the last number of years. And that's incredibly high for an MBA program in a business school. We're so proud of that, and it's something we've been purposely focusing on. And then the average is to have about 5 years work experience, but we are flexible. Like we've had in the past individuals that have just been so outstanding, they might have only had a year's work experience. You've also got people that have taken a little while longer to think, you know what, I do want to do this MBA, and therefore we've had them too. So although that's the average, I personally see that as, and this might upset Hannah, but the least important part of, in terms of how we're building the class, how we want you to feel that you've been supporting the class, is that international, the nationalities, the class size, the female, the different sectors that you've come from as well. And as I mentioned earlier, we do split the class obviously into 4 for teaching, because we can't fit all 320 odd students in one lecture theatre. It's not conducive to a good learning experience. So we split 4 sections. You have section A to section D with about 84 people in them. And that is your standard learning experience for the core courses. They're then further split into the study teams, which is your help for revision, taking notes, working together, covering if someone's off sick for a day. And that's about 5 or 6 students per study team. So moving on, this links nicely to talking about the students, the class. So we're moving on to the student council, and this is where we're going to start looking at a bit more of the co-curricular experience and why Oxford is the best option for you, basically. We feel that working together is not just about the admin team saying, this is the year, this is what you're going to be doing, prescriptive. We work very closely with an incredible group of students that put themselves forward to be on the student council. The student council as it stands was designed by students a few years ago, following the representatives that we used to have that they didn't feel worked. So they did a presentation, they presented what they wanted to move forward with as a council to feel more represented, to feel more appreciated and more official. So we have this student council now in position. Most closely, my colleagues Amy, who is the Associate Director of MBA, and my colleague Lucy, who heads the student experience side, work with the co-presidents who have a full-on job. So they are our main 2 student council members for the whole duration of the MBA programme. We have regular weekly, bi-weekly meetings with them to pulse check the class. They will kind of represent the views of the class, but are supported by section reps who can advise what's happening within their own section, because obviously the 2 co-presidents can't represent everything. I'm not going to go through each of those lists, but I think this session's being recorded, so you'll be able to look back and just see the titles that are there. But I think in addition, I personally work most closely with the Academic Affairs Officer. So it's their role to bring to me any concerns about academics, any really good feedback about academics, as well as attending our course committee, which is where change happens, where decisions are made. We feel it's so important to have students involved at that very kind of high level, which is then referred to the rest of the university. So that's something that the Academic Affairs Officer is involved in. You then have various student life, which are working on the balls and going to MBAT in Paris and organising all that kind of thing with the sports and social elements of the programme. We've got 2 diversity and inclusion officers, because we didn't think 1 was enough when you've got a cohort the size that we have. And as well, it's the MBA programme that provides the Oxford Union liaison, which means that the MBA students get a very strong say in what's happening at the Oxford Union, which is an amazing bonus of being at Oxford that I'll touch on later. But as a voting area, the MBAs have a huge say, and we have historically managed to get a lot of people onto the council at Oxford Union and really get a say in what speakers and events the MBA students would like to be holding at the Oxford Union. So that's really exciting. So as well as the student council, which is kind of the formal group, we have a number of groups. This reflects what's happening in the current cohort. We have 3 different types of groups: the alliances, the OBNs, which is Oxford Business Network, and clubs. So the alliances are originally set up, they reflect kind of school movements. So the school is moving to bring in a certain percentage of African students and a certain percentage of women students. So we've got these alliances which have a admin lead. So we have a number of you might know Tammy Brophy, who leads the Oxford Africa Business Alliance, and Amy Major, who leads the Oxford Women Leadership Alliance. So they've got the sponsorship from the programme in that respect, but then the board members are made up of students that then work on the Alliance throughout the course of the year. You've then got the Oxford Business Networks, which are sector-specific networks that have specifically elected leaders from the student body that I'll touch on later. There's a timeline of when all that kind of happens. So they're the sector-specific ones. They are set subjects that you can see: finance, consulting, E&I, social impact, etc. That are the same ones each year. Again, they've been decided by previous students and have been built on throughout that. They have some funding from us, so they can hold events, they can do conferences, they can run their own conferences. In the past, we've had people produce their own case studies for us to use in the classroom, all this kind of stuff that is very specific sector. You then have the clubs, which are ones that can fluctuate each year depending on student interest. So for an example, we've got the clubs here that we are running this year for fintech, business careers in sports, real estate, etc. But should there not be the interest the following year, then they are able to drop. New clubs can be introduced, but similar to the OBNs and alliances, there is budget to help support doing events, networking, presentations, all these kind of extra things that just really bolster the experience that you're having whilst you're here. So that's them, and they're all supported, again, as well as the alliances having a programme lead. The OBNs and the clubs have both a member on the student council that is there to help them and represent them with the finance side, but also my colleague Lucy Street, who is the student experience lead. She works really closely with OBNs and clubs to really help support them, look after events for them, and explain kind of the ways that Oxford works, because it can be a slightly challenging place to work with sometimes. So how and when, this is a bit more of the timeline. If you're now thinking, oh, I could maybe run one of the OBNs, that would be something I'd be really interested in doing. This kind of explains how it would run for you. So you get access to what we call the MBA portal in June. The MBA portal is a really great base for the duration of your year on the MBA programme, but also as a pre-arrival area to get you excited about things that you need to do beforehand. It gives you access to the careers team, to our various centres that kind of support all of these extracurricular activities, that are available. So you'll have that in June. That's when you can start looking into the OBNs, the alliances, the different groups that have been, whether you might want to be a peer supporter, whether you might want to be on the student council. Then the applications for alliances open in July and run throughout, so you can start putting your cases together. There are interviews for those roles, and Tammy and Amy will be able to advise by early launch period who has been successful on being on the committee for that. Student council, you have slightly longer, because we do think it's really valuable to not just have the loudest voice throughout pre-arrival when you're maybe not meeting, but the chance to actually talk to each other when you're here in launch, meet people in real life, actually have a chance to network a bit. So you've got that throughout launch. You're able to put your name forward for a student council position, and the same with the OBNs and the clubs. And we then run a pitch session, which is a live pitch session where each person running for a position has a minute to pitch to advise why they are the best person for the job, which is always a really good experience, actually, really good fun. But that kind of gives you an idea, so that by the end of launch, by mid-October, we've normally got our student council in place, we've got our alliance committee in place, we've got our groups and our OBNs, and it means that you can really hit the ground running and get up and going on Michaelmas events, as well as kind of starting later in the year, which is really nice. So competitions, conferences and events, conferences and courses, is another thing that we're really pleased that we're able to support at the Oxford MBA. So we do have a substantial budget to help send students to competitions, conferences and courses that we think will really help them career-wise. So historically, there have always been competitions and conferences that students would like to meet, that students would like to attend. But it was actually during COVID that we decided that we would also help to sponsor courses. mainly because there was not the opportunity to be going to all of these in-person conferences and competitions. There are too many C's, sorry. So you're now able to do courses which will help you in terms of the career. So we've sponsored various different things. You've got a whole policy to know how much you can get sponsored for, different rules around that. But Lucy, again, Street, will work very closely with people on that. But it means that you can go out and do all these amazing opportunities that MBA students would like to do. You can see a couple of examples there of how well our students do. We delight in them reporting back on all this positive experience that you get, winning all the competitions you have. And within that also, obviously, the MBA tournament, MBAT, which is an important competition that we have won for the last 3 or 4 years, I think, we're now at. So no pressure, but those of you that will be joining us, we expect great things of you. Thank you very much. And that's in supporting as well as sporting roles. And then just to end, you might be thinking, well, so far, Rachel, everything you've said could be gained at any MBA program. So I'm not really sure why you think the Oxford one is special. Well, this gives you an idea of why it is special and why personally I think Oxford MBA is the one that you all secretly want to come to, even if you're not voicing it properly yet. So this photo shows the Sheldonian Theatre. There's only one of them in the world, and it's only at Oxford that you get to go to it. So point there. Launch, our induction is a 2-week extravaganza. You start your core courses, you're meeting your faculty, you're meeting all the different sectors that are supported here, your admin team. You also get a chance to have college dinners. You have a chance to go to the Oxford Union building and watch a debate. You have a chance to go to the Ashmolean Museum for a casual drinks reception. You have a chance to go to the Museum of Natural History in Oxford and have drinks with dinosaurs under a T-Rex statue. All this kind of stuff that you start to go, you know what, this is amazing. Pardon me, and this comes from someone that was born and grew up in Oxford and every year rediscovers Oxford through the eyes of new MBA students coming in. It's amazing every year in launch when we go to the college dinners and you almost start to get a bit complacent. I think people will know this about their hometowns, but when students are coming in and seeing, for example, the Keble College dining room for the first time, or walking into the museum and going, oh, we're having drinks literally at the feet of a huge Tyrannosaurus Rex and I can stroke this grizzly. Like, it's incredible. The Oxford city itself is amazing, and the opportunities that we get by being here make it so special. What we've done purposely to try and encourage students to really get involved in Oxford, despite the very strict times that you've got in the classroom, is to produce this programme called Oxford Insights. This is a new development that we've had running for the last couple of years, and we run it with a faculty member who leads humanities elective in the Trinity term, and it gets you out into Oxford and learning more. So we've run a session at the Sheldonian Theatre where you can learn about architecture in Oxford and a walking tour around some of the colleges. We've also had an amazing experience, again, it was at the Sheldonian, with the Oxford Philharmonic Orchestra, and we were able to watch their rehearsals and learn about the leadership experience that you get through playing as part of an orchestra, but to then go to the show itself, where a tenor was singing as well, was just an incredible experience that you just don't have as a general MBA student. In addition to that, so I mentioned the Oxford Union. As part of you being an Oxford MBA student, you do get lifetime membership to the Oxford Union. So within the year that you're here in Oxford, you'll obviously be able to go and see speakers. We'll run a couple of debates throughout the year for you as well, where you can get a chance to speak if you'd like to. But you also then have the rest of your life to be able to be attending incredible events at the Oxford Union, where they've had amazing speakers, from politicians to film casts to some strange pop stars, various different, there is someone for everyone. They don't discriminate. Everyone has been at the Oxford Union, and there's going to be someone that you go, that is incredible, I'm not going to be able to see them anywhere else, I need to get in there. And you'll have the opportunity because you'll have that membership. We've then got speakers, so side speakers. We arrange corporate events throughout the year, and we've got a dedicated corporate events team that get incredible speakers in. You'll also know that on our board we have Paul Pullman, so he normally does at least one speaker a year, but we get amazing people in. We've got them both for launch, but throughout the year, that are just the people that I feel personally that I've been able to see and feel inspired by, that are brought into the building, and you only have to walk downstairs from the library to go and listen to and learn from. That's all standard. MBAs also get priority for some of these kind of events because you're here and you're our biggest cohort, and you're the flagship program. So it is a little nice to have that special treatment. I did mention MBATs. So yes, you do get that at most European MBA schools, but also you wouldn't be the reigning champions if you were in any other MBA school, because we have one for the last 3 or 4 years, and hopefully this current cohort will also win when they go off in May. Capstone I touched on earlier, so you've got all these amazing experiences. And then just to round up, you've got bobs and balls and college pets and rowing and all this kind of stuff where you go, well, that's Oxford. The bikes, when you've got historic, you've got people riding in these black and white outfits that you can see in the photo, which is Subfusk. We dress you up for your exams, because why wouldn't you want to be dressed up for your exam? So just a note on Subfusk. This is this incredible old tradition of these black gowns that you have to wear over dark suits with a bow tie or a bow. And you wear that to your exam. And for your first exam, tradition dictates in Oxford that you wear a white carnation flower on your lapel. For your following exams, you wear a pink carnation flower. And then for your final exam, you wear a red carnation. And that symbolizes literally the blood, sweat and tears that you're putting into your degree at Oxford. And you get out of that final exam with your red carnation that symbolizes everything that you've achieved. So I think that's enough from me. You've had me talking at you for half an hour. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides so that I can see your questions, and I will run through some of them and answer any questions. But thank you very much.
Right, have a look. So we've had a question about the sections.
Do the 4 sections remain the same throughout? So I think I touched on that. So yes, they are in Michaelmas term, you have your sections. They do then change for Hilary term, where you have go-to tracks that dictate the sections in order for us to fit all of the teaching in. So that changes. And then when you get to Trinity, there aren't any sections because there isn't the core course teaching taking place. You're all in your different electives, so you could be in a huge amount of different people. And we have done that on purpose. So that's so that you get the chance to meet as much of the cohort as possible. Obviously, with 313, 320 people, you're not going to know everyone after a month, after a couple of months. Switching up the sections gives you a chance to meet more people, be in smaller groups with different people, and then further on in Trinity term, when you're in all your electives, you may still be meeting new people that you haven't necessarily had the chance to have a really good conversation with, and that gives you the best opportunity to have as many people in your network as possible from the MBA class. And there's another question here. Does the Student Council work on self-nominations? How does the selection play out? Great question. So the council and OBNs is all self-nominated. If you think someone would be particularly good, then please do speak to them and ask them to put themselves forward. You are expected to put your name forward, put a little written support in terms of why you think you'd be best for the role, what your previous experiences, etc. They are then published to students, as well as the 1-minute pitch that you have live on the stage in our big lecture theatre to your fellow students in person. We then run a survey that asks students to vote. All MBA students can vote for all student council positions. So you're voted by your whole cohort. When you get to the OBNs and the groups, it's only people that would like to sign up to those OBN and groups that get to vote on the people that are standing for the co-chair position. We think that's more fair than if you have no interest in social impact, being able to vote on who leads it doesn't seem as relevant. So yes, self-nomination, and then there's surveys that ask people to vote, and then we announce the results of the voting based on your written pitch and your live pitch. Next question. Are the electives on the website a comprehensive list of all the electives, or are they a selection? Yes, so the ones on the website are a selection because the electives do change year on year. So we've put an idea of what's up there. In terms of how many there are, in Hilary term, when you're doing the Core Plus elective, you will have a choice of just 3 core plus electives, and that's because they are built specifically to build on the core courses that you've studied up to that point. So there's one from the finance background, one from the strategy and marketing background, and one from the tech and ops kind of background. When it gets to Trinity term, we offer about 38 to 40 elective choices. So you've got a much bigger kind of selection there, which is a huge different selection of subjects. And we're constantly building on that. So every time we get a new faculty, if there's an interest that they've got, if there's a research strength that they've got, we're building on that to try and offer it as much opportunity as we can. But we're also conscious that we have a certain amount of space for teaching, both physical, but also in a timetable. We don't want to be bombarding you with so many choices that you can't pick because there are so many clashes. So obviously you are limited on what you can pick because other things will be happening at the same time. And then when you get to summer, there are about 20 electives, less offered in summer because you have the opportunity to be going off and doing a strategic consulting project or an internship for credit. So they're slightly reduced, but there's still a nice array of electives. They're also taught, as you've, if you remember back to the year planner that I showed you, they're taught in smaller blocks. So instead of being taught over a 4-week period, which is what we do in our Michaelmas, Hillary and Trinity term, they're taught in a 2-week period. So you can take one elective over 2 weeks, or you can take a couple of electives in that 2-week block. So they're slightly more limited. But yes, that's how our electives work. Another question, can students take electives from outside of the business school, tapping into the wider offerings that Oxford have? So the easy answer to this is yes, but you are not able to take courses from outside of the MBA programme for credit. So you are very welcome to approach other areas of the school, other areas of the university, sorry. I know that Blavatnik in the past, computer science, the Oxford Martin School have offered MBAs the chance to audit electives. So if you contact the individual department, they'll be able to let you know what their audit policy is, what courses are running, when they're running. And if you feel that you have the time and it doesn't clash with any of your teaching on the MBA programme, then you are very welcome to go out and study any extra courses that you can to really kind of bolster your experience. Absolutely. It's just we're not allowed to let you have it for credit because the courses on the MBA programme are really strictly monitored in terms of what contributes to an MBA programme, I'm afraid. But yes, you are able to go take advantage of the fact you're at the #1 university in the world and see if you can get some extra teachings whilst you're here. Another question. Does SBS have a pre-MBA foundation course in the weeks before September? Very good question. So as it currently stands, we run our pre-arrival section of the MBA portal from June. So that's not a course as such, but it helps you prepare, it shows you various things. And the Career Development Centre, in fact, do have work that they want you to work through on there. Something that, as I said, we're constantly trying to innovate, we're constantly trying to develop. Something that we're currently looking at in our review process is whether a pre-arrival kind of online course would be helpful. A lot of feedback that we get is that people obviously come in at different stages, having been off doing different careers. So it is something that we're looking at. I don't know that that would be in place for the next cohort coming in 2023, but generally you do have engagement with the programs team, which is the team that I sit in, from June before you arrive in person and you're working from September. Next question, is one able to seek waivers against core courses based on past experience? This is a good question and it does come up quite often. I'm afraid as it stands, it's not possible. Everyone has to do the same courses. We do understand. I think one of the courses that comes up most is in accounting. It's again something that we are looking at as part of a review, but is a later down the line process. Something that Student Council, in fact, I had a meeting yesterday with some members of the Student Council. It's something that they do raise and we do want to genuinely look into. But as it stands, everyone has to go through the same credits no matter what. What we like to think, and what students generally say, is that you learn as much, if not more, from each other as you do from the faculty. So the idea that, I'm going to use accounting as an example, the idea that everyone in the accounting class has never done accounting before is not what we want. We want the people that have all that experience to also contribute, because you can have different conversations, you can lead the class discussions in different ways. You'll then have people that are very strong in marketing, whereas other people haven't, and they can then lead the conversations in those classes. So by testing out, you do lose that opportunity to have that diversity, and that's something that we really think is quite important, which is why we're going for all these diversity kind of things in our class build up. So that's why we generally do not test out, because it's something that we think helps you learn from each other, helps you support each other on a very intense year. So no, at the moment you are not able to test out, and it has been done on purpose. Next question, does the career team help with pre-MBA internships? When is the earliest that I can contact them? So I'm afraid the careers team are not available until June, when you get access to the pre-arrival site. This is because they're working with our current students, and you do have then, as an MBA student at Said, we've got our own dedicated careers team, and they do work with you post MBA as well. So you get moved onto the executive careers team once you've completed your MBA. But in June, when you're added to the MBA portal, you'll be able to start going through all the work, the pre-work that careers ask for you, working on CVs, working on LinkedIn, working on different interview skills. And at that stage, you are very welcome to reach out to them and see if they can help you with anything in that respect. Right, now the question's coming in. People have warmed up. In your experience, how do Oxford MBAs balance academic, school life, scholarship obligations with full-time job recruiting? Are there any recommendations on how much is too much? This is a good question, and I don't want to appear flaky with the answer, but this is so personal to individuals. There are some people that will come in and go, I only want to focus on the academics, so I'm going to come into the program and I'm not going to do any extracurricular stuff. And they focus on the program. That's what was right for them, and that goes out and helps them career-wise. There are other people that before they even land in Oxford, they've already socialized, they've already signed up to everything co-curricular, and then they actually halfway through Michaelmas term think it's too much, and they end up dropping out of stuff. And there are other people that come in, sign up to everything, and maintain that throughout the whole year, because they've gone, this is the opportunity, this is my only year out that I'm going to take from work, I want to throw myself into every opportunity I can, and then have found that that works for them. So it's really hard to say. I think a lot of it is be realistic based on your personal past experience. How much have you handled in the past? How much are you the kind of person that will throw yourself out there? On a personal fact, I'm very introverted, so I would find it quite exhausting signing up for every co-curricular in addition to the classwork. And also remembering that the MBA itself is an incredible social course. So as well as all the in-classroom stuff, you will naturally be doing a lot of mixing with your MBA program, your MBA colleagues. There is a lot of organising, going out and enjoying yourselves and doing different events, and punting and rowing and everything that's available in Oxford. So you do have all of that extra stuff anyway. In terms of them relating that to looking for jobs, it does depend. You've mentioned consulting, but obviously you've got the finance structured hiring that comes in very early in the year that is being focused on with the careers team early on to help prepare. Then you've got the consulting ones that come in after that. You've got all the unstructured hiring throughout. That's questions I would suggest you start talking to the careers team when you know what you want to be doing. We have had students that have joined us with a very strict idea of what they're going to, and then have got involved in a course that really surprised them and suddenly ended up going, I completely want to do something different now, and have completely changed their mind. So I get that doesn't really answer your question very well. I'm really sorry about that, but it is a balancing act. There is going to be a lot of demand on your time being in the school. I know that when people bring their friends, their families over and stuff, it can be challenging with your family here, but we do try and support that as much as possible. So we do offer family access cards for spouses. They're welcome to come in, have a coffee. We have a partner liaison that's available as well. So you are able to take on as much or as little as you wish, and you will get as much or as little out of the program as you would like to. You do need to throw yourself into the academic side, and I will obviously say that because that's my part of the program. But there are so many other opportunities. But don't feel that you have to sign up for everything before Michaelmas, because there will still be opportunities coming up later in the year as well, both co-curricular or social or anything else that comes up. So it's not you have to be in there first to be able to take it forward. So take your time, settle in, know what you want to do, and develop throughout the year. So next, can you comment on how the Oxford MBA curriculum is different from Cambridge's? I'm afraid personally, I actually can't. So I don't know, perhaps I should, enough about Cambridge's curriculum to be able to comment directly on that, I'm afraid. But maybe that's a question that we can take away, Hannah, and I can have a look at. And we are looking at some benchmarking in terms of our MBA review, but a different person is looking after that, one of our ex-students that we've hired to help out with us. So we can report back on that if that would be helpful for you. How can I connect with incoming students joining Saeed? Is there an online community? I believe there are, I don't know if it's Slack or Telegram now, there are different groups once you've kind of paid your deposit, once you are decided that you are going to be joining us, then I think the recruitment admissions team are able to kind of point you in the right direction to join with like-minded individuals until you're put on our kind of MBA portal and stuff in June. But again, we'll be able to come back to that and let you know how that works out. If you do decide to come and join us, in which case, congratulations, that was the right decision. And if you don't, then I'm sorry that you're missing out. Right, and I think last one that I can see, unless another one comes in, can one take internships during the course period apart from the summer? Really good question, and this does come up. So generally we say no. So the reason that the internship is put where it is because we think it's important to have this order of courses. As I said, the purpose way that we've designed it to have this based on core courses and then opening up, and the way to shape the MBA for yourself. If you're then taking an internship, obviously you can't do that at the same time of the core courses because you'll miss out on the teaching. And ideally we don't offer it at the same time. We have this strict summer thing because it has the right dates for us. It means that you can go out, and actually it means that should you wish to, you can immediately go into a full-time job with that internship partner because you'll have met all of the kind of credit criteria that you need to for the program. We can be flexible, however, within reason. You wouldn't be able to take anything earlier than kind of halfway through Trinity term because you just won't be able to make the credits up, and we can't get you then to complete the MBA program. But on a case-by-case basis, we will speak to people about the offer that they've had. We obviously don't want to hold any of you back from having that dream career, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, then we don't want to be the ones that ruin it for you. So we are approachable, and we are not no people. We will go out of our way to try and make anything possible. We very rarely have to say no to people, but generally we would like those internships to fit in the period that is specifically designed for internships. But we have a really great team called Projects Office that work in my delivery team, and they are able to work with you on a case-by-case basis to see what we are able to work with. Can you please share more details on GoPro internal assignments? Will SBS support in that in terms of financing trip, or is it to be borne by students? I'm afraid, anonymous attendee, I'm not aware of what that is. Are you able to send another message possibly and say what that is? I haven't heard of a GoPro internal assignment. If it's a course or a competition or conference, then we can help subsidize the cost of that. We don't cover full costs, but we do, I believe it's a kind of a set amount or up to 70% or something of the costs. If it's something outside of that, then I'm afraid I'm not aware of what it is. But yeah, sorry about that. If you're not able to type it now, you can send an email to the recruitment admissions team and they can forward it on to me, and I'll respond to that. Another question, can entrepreneurship projects be done with an external party similar to strategic consulting projects? In an easy answer, no. So entrepreneurship projects should be run by students as a new business from scratch, or one that you maybe have started slightly, but there are limitations in what you're able to do. What you can have is an Oxford collaborator, and that's an individual that is external, that is able to help and contribute if there's something that they want to build in. But obviously not able to be involved in the assessment side of it. So they can't be in the presentations, they can't kind of contribute to the work that's submitted. So you do need to be really careful with how you go through that. But more about that will be, we hold these EP pitch sessions where students can put themselves forward. If there are Oxford collaborators, they can also attend those pitch sessions and put kind of an idea they might have forward and help to sponsor it. But it wouldn't be that there's kind of a company that's already existing, because that kind of defies the point of the entrepreneurship project as it stands. Right, so I think that is it for the questions that we've got. If you do think of anything else, then I'm going to volunteer Hannah, and I apologise for that, but do send it through to the recruitment admissions team and they will forward on anything to me if you want an answer. I'm happy for you to send me questions if you think of anything now once we've logged off. But thank you from me.
Yeah, we definitely can do that. And just to say, the question that came through there about students being able to connect with each other, we do usually have a Slack group that is set up for incoming students. We don't set it up on the recruitment and admissions team, so we actually ask one of the current MBA students to get that set up for us. So obviously you guys might want to have some conversations that you don't want members of the recruitment and admissions team to be part of, so we are not part of the Slack group. It's a group for current students and for students who have been admitted to the programme to connect and ask each other questions. So we are in the process of getting that set up currently, and we're just waiting to hear back from some of our currently very busy MBA students to see if they can get that set up for us. So as soon as we have an update on that, we'll make the link for the Slack group available to you via your application portal, and then you'll be able to connect with one another on there. Just to finish off the session, to say a huge thank you to all of you who have joined and for your engagement. There were some really good questions coming through there, so thank you very much. And to say a huge thank you as well to Rachel for all of the information and expertise that she has shared. I think she did an amazing job at highlighting why Oxford is a wonderful location to come and do your MBA, and she is in danger of being poached by the recruitment and admissions team based on her performance today. So a huge thank you to Rachel and to all of you as well. We look forward to having you join the remaining sessions that we have running this afternoon and in the coming days as well. And as Rachel mentioned, any questions that any of you have, do please reach out to us on the recruitment and admissions team. We'll be very happy to help in any way that we can. But in the meantime, wishing you all a wonderful afternoon, and we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you again later today. Thank you, everyone.